Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love college football as much as I do. Now, Uncle Lou, do you believe? Do you believe? It's personal. No, I'm just playing. Talking like Deion Sanders. Because our bet, our trilogy bet, is about the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, before I get into all the details, let's talk about our history. The first time we bet 2 years ago, the bet was Florida State would win at least 8 games, including a home win over Clemson. Florida State did win 10 games that year, but they lost to Clemson, so Uncle Lou took $100 off of me. And then last year, our rematch bet was, he says Alabama would lose to LSU. And I picked Alabama, of course. But because Alabama was, I think, a touchdown favorite, Uncle Lou made it to where, hey, man, if we take this bet, you have to take it to where Alabama beats them by at least that much or more. Turns out they beat them by 2 touchdowns. So I won the bet, and I got my money back. So now we've basically made no money off each other. This bet, Uncle Lou, if you look at his channel, which is hilarious, by the way. I watch it every day like I'm supposed to. He thinks Colorado will go 5-7. I just don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. Now, look, I'm not here to say Colorado, like one of the unrealistic fans saying Colorado's going to go undefeated, they're going to win a national championship. No, I don't see that at all. But I do think they'll be a winning team at least. Listen to this. From the recruiting class and the transfer portal, Jordan Seaton, the #1 offensive lineman out of high school this past year, or 2024, according to 24/7 Sports, whatever it's called. The transfers now. Now, they got 2 other guys. One of them's a hard commit, and I think signed letter of intent or whatever it's called. They got those guys, too. They're both about 300 pounds. One's 330, the other one's 290 pounds. They're both 6'4". Here are the transfer guys, all offensive linemen. Ethan Boyd, 6'7", 320 pounds. Zach Owens, 6'6", 375 pounds, right? Yeah. My writing's not very good, especially with these Deion Sanders shades. Wyatt Hummel, whatever his name is, 6'6", 315 pounds. Peyton Kirkland, 6'6", 350 pounds. Justin Mayers, 6'3", 309 pounds. Tyler Johnson, 6'5", 320 pounds. Khalil Benson, 6'6", 325 pounds. And they got these 2 other transfers that are like 6'5", 250, 6'3", 267. Kind of undersized. But you imagine they're going to put on some weight. So my point is, the reason why Colorado, part of it was they struggled so much is they could not protect Shedeur Sanders. A lot of them were undersized offensive linemen. They had injuries. Well, what Deion Sanders just did was boost his offensive line, where Shedeur, despite not having much protection this past year, getting hit a lot. It reminded me of the Francois days at Florida State, how much he got hit, but also very talented. Probably better than what he was, you know, and I think he is. I think he's going to have, if not the best passing numbers in the country, at least one of them, unless Colorado is just not coached very good. I think that's going to really help. And this isn't just 4 or 5 offensive linemen. Deion Sanders saying, hey, this is your offensive line. He's telling everybody, hey, I got basically a whole new offensive line, and I got other guys to step up in case any of your starters, or maybe all your starters, get hurt. So that's really smart business there. And I mean, Colorado's not like they had no talent. They had good wide receivers, they had good running backs, and they hit the transfer portal, and they got plenty of those too. Tight ends, everything. Defensive line. They went out and got 10 defensive linemen through the transfer portal and recruiting all put together. So they done got bigger at the line of scrimmage. Now listen, I'm not saying I'm guaranteeing Colorado to be elite or be great, but anytime you boost the line of scrimmage and you get bigger and stronger, that's so much better than what Colorado had last year. And again, that's a part of why they struggled this past year, you know? That's what it is, you know? And although I don't know if Deion Sanders is an elite coach, a great coach, or anything like that, I'd say he's a pretty good coach. I mean, look how they played against TCU. You know, if you look at the penalties and others, like the turnovers and all that, you didn't really see any of that against TCU. A big part of why they won. You know, now outside of the Oregon game, where they had a lot of dumb stuff and turnovers, I believe, and they just couldn't play with Oregon. I mean, Oregon beat everybody except Washington. But they got beat by better teams, yes. But when you're not very big at the line of scrimmage and you're not very strong, you know, that happens. Even if you have a great passer like Shedeur Sanders. He is a great passer. I believe he's a great quarterback. Travis Hunter's still there. This is Deion Sanders' second year with the program, so you imagine automatically it's going to get better. Earlier, about a month or 3 weeks ago or so, I said Colorado would go 10-2. Now, I'm glad I said this part after I talked about the bet and accepted the bet with Uncle Lou, because they're expected to win, I think, 5.5 games or more. I'm saying they're going to win 7. He thinks they're going to win 5. I believe that. I don't know about them still winning 10 games. I said they'd go 10-2. But I didn't mention this with Uncle Lou. I'm smart, see? Look at their schedule. They have North Dakota State. And I understand where Uncle Lou's coming from. They're a very successful powerhouse program, FCS level. So they definitely can beat Colorado. I don't think so, though. I think Colorado's going to win a really tough game at home. This game's at home. And I think they win it. I do agree with him. They beat Nebraska. They beat Colorado State. Probably beat Baylor. I disagree with UCF. I mean, nowadays, if you look a few years back, you have seen teams like Michigan State when they were pretty good with Kenneth Walker. They went down to Miami. I know Miami wasn't very good, but UCF hasn't really been special with Gus Malzahn either. And yeah, he's a winning coach, but he's not exactly a great elite coach. Yeah, he beat Nick Saban a few times, but outside of that, what else has he done? He got fired at Auburn too. So I think they actually beat UCF, in a higher scoring game. Now I understand. I do agree with him on the Utah and Oklahoma State games. They probably won't win those games because I think it'll be out of Utah and Oklahoma State that win the Big 12 championship and go to the playoffs. So they might lose to Kansas too. But everybody else, even Arizona, because Arizona outside that quarterback, I think he has one good receiver. Arizona lost their head coach. He went off to Washington. So you imagine that's going to hurt their team a lot. And outside of this past year when they had a 10-win season, including the Oklahoma win in the Alamo Bowl, Arizona really hasn't been known for very much. And Colorado could have beat that team. Like Uncle Lou said, that was probably their best loss, a close loss to a good Arizona team. I think they beat them this time, whether it's played at home, away, or on the moon. So at worst case, I believe they win 7 games. And again, when you have an offensive line that's big and strong and probably well coached, again, I'm not saying Deion Sanders is a great coach. I'm not saying he's winning a national championship. And I'm not going to dispute the fact that once his sons are probably going to go to the NFL draft this past year, he's probably going to follow along. I'm not here to dispute that. And I'm not here to call Uncle Luke dumb or anything. Clearly he's not. He's funny. But if you watch his videos, he makes pretty good predictions a lot of the time. So, like me. But obviously he's more popular. But I think they can definitely win at least 7 games. I mean, look, the first 5 games I've already talked about, they have a big chance to win those games. Kansas State, 50-50. Cincinnati, they should beat them. I mean, Texas Tech, they should beat them. But they could lose because it's at Texas Tech. Kansas, yeah, their offense is explosive, but their quarterback, Jalen Daniels, he has a problem staying healthy. And that defense has been trash, even though they've won more games. So, I mean, Colorado could definitely win that Kansas game. So, yeah, I just don't see them losing a lot of games. And again, outside of the Oregon game, I don't really see where Deion Sanders was really a bad coach because his players went in there with an attitude and ran their mouths right before the game, and they clearly deserved what they got. But I don't think he's a bad coach. I mean, that's just my opinion. Again, I think he's better than what's being said. Not really by Uncle Lou, but a lot of people in general don't think he's a great coach. I think he's a decent coach. Now, I will say he probably will follow his sons and Travis Hunter to the NFL. That's most likely to happen. I agree with that. But I believe they'll have a pretty good year. I mean, at best case, 10-2, maybe. I mean, outside of Utah and Oklahoma State, if they play their best games, they definitely could beat these guys. But at worst case, they lose to UCF. I can see that happening. It's over there. I mean, anything's possible. They're not a bad team. Kansas State they could lose. At Texas Tech, they could lose that one. Utah and Oklahoma State, they could lose. I mean, maybe even 6 games. So, and then still win their bowl game, and I would still win. So they have more than 6.5 wins. But, yeah, that's my take on that. Uncle Lou, one more time. I mean, look, thanks, man. I probably should have thanked you at the beginning of the video, but thank you for accepting this bet. I'm looking forward to our trilogy bet. I look forward to talking about this during later on in the year. It's something for me to look forward to outside of my personal life, my work life. So thanks again. I hope everything's good with you in your personal life, with your family and everything. I wish you nothing but the best. And yes, if you look closely, I am wearing a Michigan jersey. I have a team that I like from every conference in college football. I love the Cheaters. I mean the Wolverines. See you later.